He has made a career out of monetizing sports on the edge. Ken Block is a driven entrepreneur, also happens to drive the occasional transmission into little bits of scrap.
All my experiences from growing a business like DC, and basically I adapted all that knowledge and experience to my rally racing career. It was just the idea of experiencing this thing that I loved since I was a teenager. And that was literally the only thought. I like that, I want to go do that. No real idea what would come and develop that. And then that was the impetus to start the Gymkhana series. We've made 14 of those videos that all have over 30 or 40 million views each. I like creative stuff and I like fun stuff, and I don't take life too serious, and I don't believe in tombstone. I try and inspire people to be creative and live a fun life. Don't be an asshole. The idea for starting DC really came from us seeing an opportunity, to make shoes for skateboarders. Nike at the time was really popular, and we really saw that performance message, something that we could apply to make something really unique and good for skateboarding. That is our history. That will never change. Starting any company like that's difficult. You have an idea, you have a dream, you have a message you want to put out there, you develop product, that can just fail, But we believed so much in what we were doing at DC that we sold drawers, we sold Dove, we sold Blunt Magazine, and we focused, everything that we had on DC. We were just experimenting with being business owners. My name was on a line of credit from a bank for $5 million, and we had skateboarders that wouldn't show up at demos. I had 2 other business partners at the time looking at me like, why are you spending $100,000 on this ramp for Danny? I had to make those business decisions and justify those spends to say, I think this is impactful for the brand to reach more people, to reach our core consumers, to drive sales. That was hard, and it was a lot of responsibility on a 20, 30-year-old that basically had no marketing education. That was learning it as I went. I don't like the term innovator, but I like the idea that we try to do things differently as a brand, as a company, and me as a person, to try and not just do the same things, the same status quo that everybody else does. I learned to do that at a very high level, working with great photographers and videographers, people that were able to shoot things in really unique ways. And then we brought it to life in print ads and commercials. And, that basically transferred over to making rad content for social media and YouTube. I don't know, I've been really lucky in that way that I like really rich content, and I like making really in-depth stories around athletes doing rad stuff. So to be able to put that together and make actual marketing out of it that helps people come along and buy stuff, that's just an amazing feeling. Well, the first time I got in a race car, I absolutely loved it. And it was everything I dreamed about as a kid, driving for the first time. It was incredible. And I was like, oh, okay, when do I get back in the car next? I was hooked. It's just incredible to get into a high-powered, great handling race car and race it down a road where somebody blocks off the beginning and end and just says, go as fast as you can from point A to point B. And here's these instructions as to what every corner is and every straightaway, and drive as flat out to these notes into the road that you possibly can. I've been driven since I was a kid for not necessarily success, I would say for accomplishment. When I set out to do something, I really want to succeed at it. That goes from a very small art project I may want to do all the way through to a major business that For some reason, I just want to see whatever idea I have through and do it the best that I possibly can. Anything from a business adventure to even a social media post, it's how can we be creative, do things in a different way, but also show a love for life and a love for having fun. I grew up in a family with a dad that loved baseball, so I've been to hundreds of Dodgers games. I just had other interests. I didn't like team sports as much. I really liked skateboarding and riding dirt bikes, and eventually got into snowboarding. To me, the creativity in those sports, everything from what you did on the snowboard to even the art and music and culture around them, just was much more appealing to me than a stick and ball sport. I genuinely appreciated like the technology and the design of not only the boots and the gear and the helmets, but even the really subtle things that even came from the industry, like sunglasses. And so as I got older, especially in high school, I got into classes where I could actually start creating things myself. I had started, a small business to get, to make apparel for skateboarding, and I had my business partner, Damon. I was in a graphics class at Palomar College. I sat next to Damon in an algebra class. We both just had similar interests in graphic arts to actual apparel design. We started with a small brand called 8 Ball. We were just trying to make something that we thought kids that were in skateboarding consumers would like. We didn't know anything about trademark laws. We found out after a short time that, hey, somebody actually owned this trademark. Eventually we started DC because we saw the opportunity to make a better skateboard shoe, and we had two great pros, Danny Way and Colin McKay, along with Rob Dyrdek and Josh Kalis, that really took off. Over time, we just were able to really grow DC from something, quite small to, a very big worldwide sold brand. From nothing to, 150 million in sales when we sold it. That was just a success story for all the hard work that we put into it. I raced in Rally America, which is a series that I paid as a privateer to go race. Ended up getting Rookie of the Year, and at the end of that year, I made the decision to keep racing, and then every year forward, I just kept getting better and better. Over time, I really went from being a guy that sat in an office every day during work to being a guy that trained to try and be a champion. The ain't care part of it is, I care more about the goal than the piece of equipment. We celebrate this stuff. This is all about trying as hard as you can and not having mechanical sympathy, because sometimes mechanical sympathy can get in your way. For me, it's always pushing that mindset of being creative and doing it in a positive way and doing it in a very fun way. For me, the simple legacy is I hope I just inspire other people in a positive way to really go out and live their dreams.